All right. Uh, Season 3, Big Wolf and Kevin Season 3, Episode 7. Save the Last Trance. This one is another weird one that I don't think I've seen a lot of. Like I said, there's some in this season that I don't think I've seen a lot. It's a Merton-centric episode. We'll get a couple more of those this season, I think. Excuse me, just had dinner. Spaghetti. Very good. So I tried to clean the sauce off my face. In this episode, Tommy's trying to get Merton into playing with, into the popular group, the jocks. One such jock is that of Chuck, who is the character that first appears in this episode. I know him from another episode down the line, and I always thought it was weird, like this Chuck guy comes out of nowhere. He does come out of nowhere, but I guess he first shows up in this episode. I'm like, wait a minute, that guy, I know that guy from the other episode, I won't say which one, but he is the one thing in that one episode that happens, interesting to see him here. I didn't realize it. But trying to get Merton to fit in doesn't exactly work. He's trying to play the basketball and it throws the ball so high that he goes over to catch it, and he finds this tree that has a witch that was burned by the tree, and they have a little plaque by the tree. And he's like, they had witch trials here, which he did not know about, and I'm confused as to why he wouldn't know about it. And how that would be some kind of historical tree. Like it's just been found out now. Now, he reads the whole thing. Here lies Hyacinth Thistlethorpe. Burned at the stake. Witch burned at the stake, whatever. So he says her name once here. Remember that. So he comes back with the ball. He gets an argument with Chuck. Chuck's like, maybe you don't even have a girlfriend. He's like, I have a girlfriend. What's her name? Hyacinth Thistlethorpe. Huh? Hyacinth Thistlethorpe. Who? Hyacinth Thistlethorpe. And that wakes her up. Now, she goes on to say later that if someone should say her name thrice, she would be brought back. However, Merton technically said it 4 times because he said her name when he read the plaque, and then he said it 3 more times. So technically, the second time he said it to Chuck should have been the 3rd time. Should have counted as the 3rd time. Maybe you guys say it 3 times in a row, like Beetlejuice. I don't know. There's stuff with Beetlejuice where it's like they said Beetlejuice once 2 minutes ago, and then they say it 3 times in a row or something like that. I'm just like, they didn't say it 4 times, but they don't count it. I don't know. But she's brought back, and because he says that she's his girlfriend, then that is what she's doing. And this is the backstory for this character, we find out, is the most watered down version of a witch trial. Watered down in a way. Like, witches are known for killing people. This is the most, teen comedy version of a witch trial. So apparently we find out, so she becomes this girlfriend that's basically smothering Merton. She's going, I had to mute it because I couldn't deal with this scene. She's in the hallway. She's going, ding, 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 hear ye, Merton, dingle and I. It's like, no, mute it. Let it be known. She's making him dress up like an Amish person for some reason, even though they don't fit in to that time period, but he's dressed in with the beard with no mustache. Going by the name of Ezekiel. Again, I don't think Amish fit in that time period, but okay, maybe. I'm no expert. And he's like, he's enjoying it. He's saying he's enjoying it. She leaves, and he's like, it's killing me. Chuck goes to pick on her, I should mention, and she makes it so he can't speak. He's like, you can't hear any words. I have an issue with the 2 big spells that she casts. I have an issue. But we'll get there. She also casts a spell on Merton so he can't lie. And it's not like So he always tells the truth. And instead of it just being he spits out the truth, it's if he tries to lie, it goes and gets him. Hey, that's just done for comedy. Spells like that, it would just be he can't lie. He always tells the truth. But here, to play it for comedy, he's got to go. You gotta say a lie and like, I don't know. It's supposed to be funny. I find it a bit annoying, but you know. So there are a couple scenes where they tag in. It's like he and Merton are trying to come up with a plan, and like Tommy's like, you know, why don't you just break up with her? And that's when Lori shows up. That's not a good idea. Turns out she had 9 previous boyfriends back in the day, and she killed all of them for breaking up with her. That's why she was burned at the stake or the tree. I don't know. Yeah, and they don't show it, but they show etchings to each other, but we don't see it because it's supposed to be that horrifying. You know, sort of thing. So Merton decides the best plan is to tell her that he's going to join the Navy. Pleasantville is landlocked. Why not the Army? Marines? Merton is supposed to be the genius here. Yes, he can be goofy, but he would know that it's landlocked, and he'd say, oh, I'm joining the Army, and I'm being shipped out right away. But he would know. He would know that it's landlocked. She's like, Pleasantville is landlocked, and she casts a spell to make him always tell the truth, which, like I said, doesn't necessarily make him tell the truth, as it forces him to. If he lied, it was, gets him, and then, yeah. So, because of this, Tommy has to come up with a plan to get rid of her. So he gives Tommy a book on witches and says, you can't tell me anything about the plan or she'll force me to tell her about it, basically. Because she has kidnapped Lori, because she sees Lori as a threat. She's going to burn Lori as a witch, which is a call back to the witch trials being bullshit. According to the legend, the Salem witch trials were bullshit. There was no real witches. It was anything went against the grain of what is normal. You were called a witch and burned at the stake. That's what it was. We've seen it in countless TV shows where it's like, you know, you're a heretic, you're a witch, if you're any different. Like, take for instance, the Fear Street trilogy on Netflix. Now, I know a lot of people are heavy-handed on this stuff because the LGBT stuff. If it's done right, I don't mind it. And I think in that trilogy it was handled pretty well. But that is an example, I can think of the word, of it. You know, those two girls, they liked each other. Two girls liked each other, and they just said that was witchery. Because that's not normal to them, and anything that's not normal must be witchery, you know. And yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what the witch trials were supposedly about. I had a video, like, I don't know why I muted it instead of pausing it, but I don't know. So yeah, she's gonna burn Lori. Merton shows up and tries to bullshit his way out of it. He can't, because and then reveals that Tommy's waiting to pounce on her, and he starts putting out this spell, which is just the wheels on a bus go round and round. She's like, let me see that. She grabs it. So there's nothing on here. He goes, except for witch hazel, which negates her spells. Except for the ones on Merton and Chuck. I don't know what that was actually supposed to do. Like, she can't cast magic now, apparently. Maybe that's what it was. She takes her magic powers away. But if that's the case, why do Merton and Chuck still have the spells on them? And they show later they still have the spells on them. She decides to do broom food, like, before she flies away. Witches don't fly on brooms. That's a myth. So she fights Tommy using the broom and stuff, and then tags in Lori, speaking of girl on girl fight. And they knock her to the tree. Tommy reads another spell that sends her back into the tree, and that's it. And Merton and Chuck are still got the spells on them. I think after she is sent back into the tree, the spells should have wore off. But again, comedy. We're playing it for comedy. Common sense, though, would dictate no. The spell still shouldn't work. But Merton and Laurie are playing Battleship, and he can't lie, so and Chuck can't talk. So yeah, it was fine for an episode. I don't know if necessarily it's one. It was entertaining enough. I might go back to it once or twice, but if I'm picking up my favorite episodes and going by just those, this wouldn't be in that block. I would say I want to watch my favorite episodes in a chunk. This would not be one of them. So, yeah. Just keep going. Oh.